Registered show of fans who thought the next words out of my mouth were going to be sex offender. Yep, see, there's always one or two assholes in the back. What I was going to say is that I'm a registered nurse. Thank you. I want to let y'all know that in the case of an emergency, those of you that clapped that when I said I was a nurse, you'll get first priority.
Yes!
So you have 5 hours.
Now, nursing can be a hard job sometimes, and sometimes it's just as easy as handing out laxatives and telling people to drink more water.
I'll do that.
Sometimes the doctor tells me to hand out the laxatives, and sometimes I just do it for my own personal enjoyment. Now, nurses are the only people in the whole world, other than your own mother, that can be genuinely concerned about how you feel, and at the same time want to choke you until you shit yourself. Now, obviously, we can't choke our patients, can we? Can we?
Yeah.
Nobody ever really tells me no, though. It's like legalities and stuff, but that's it. We can't, but what we do is we give out like nicknames. The doctors, they have it bad. We call them names like Dr. Death, Dr. Demento. We had one doctor, we named him Dr. Banana Hands. He had these hands that looked like big old bunches of bananas. He had big old sausage, gorilla-looking fingers. We used to tease him all the time that it's a good thing he wasn't a gynecologist. He could have ruined it for the rest of us. The patients get it a little bit easier. We usually give them a nickname that has something to do with the reason they're there. Like my new friend Bunyan's down in room 1. One-Eyed Pete's in room 5. We had one guy come in one time. We nicknamed him the junk drawer. He lost an entire screwdriver up his ass. That's a true story. Absolutely. Y'all want to hear about it? Good, because I'm going to tell you. I want to start this story out by letting you know that a foreign object in the anus in the emergency room is a normal occurrence. At least every other month, somebody else is coming in. And 99% of the time, it's a middle-aged married white guy that looks like he voted against gay marriage. So, anyways, I'm sitting there working the front desk, the triage nurse, the first person you talk to when you come into the emergency room. And I see this guy jump down out of his truck. He's walking across the parking lot like this. Now, there's only 3 types of patients that come in that walk like that. He didn't look like he was having a baby. He didn't look like what it took to become a low-legged cowboy. And that only leaves one thing: foreign object in the anus. So he makes it in, and he leans over the desk and he says, "I got something stuck."
No.
He's like, "All right, I'll play along." Like, where? Your nose, your ear? Where? I mean, I'm going to make him tell me. And he leans in and he says, "I accidentally slipped, and I accidentally fell, and now there's accidentally a screwdriver in my bum." So I get on the little radio, I let the doctor know in the emergency room that I'm bringing him back. And the guy looks at me and he says, "Hey, you didn't tell him it was an accident." So I got on the radio and I said, "Hey, it was an accident." I don't know if the doctor forgot that all the patients in the waiting room could hear what he said over the radio or just didn't give a shit. But he came back laughing and said, "I just fucking love those guys. Bring them on back. They're fucking hilarious." So I go to take him back to a room, but by this point he can't even sit in a wheelchair, so I make him do the walk of shame the whole way back. I give him a gown, I tell him, "Take off all of your clothes. Whenever I come back, you should be just wearing a gown and ready for the doctor." 10 minutes later, I walk in, and not only is this guy just wearing his gown, but he didn't take his socks off, so he's got knee-high black socks on, like a typical older Floridian. But he has also taken it upon himself to pull out the stirrups and get into the pelvic exam position. I'm kind of relieved at this point because that's not my job. That's the doctor's job to deal with all that shit. So the doctor comes in and he flips up the gown, he goes to do the exam. And not only does he confirm that there is a star point sticking out, he also confirms that the dude is wearing a jockstrap, complete with a protective cup. Now, he might have been a little fucking backwards, and I gotta tell you, I think he was protecting the wrong end. So about that time, we call down to X-ray. The technician comes up. I tell her, give him his chart, let her know all the views we need, and she goes to take him away. And he looks at me and says, "Hey, you never told her it was an accident." Really, man? All right, it was an accident. So she takes him away, and in that time, the doctor starts assembling the greatest team of anal object removers ever assembled in the history of the world. We even call it in the maintenance man because it was a screwdriver. I gotta tell you, I'm not really much help in situations like that. My only suggestion was to bring in Dr. Banana Hands. About that time, we get a frantic phone call from the X-ray tech. She says, "I got him in the elevator, you gotta see this shit." We're on our way. She gets up there, puts the films up on the light board. This guy doesn't just have a screwdriver stuck in his ass. He has an 18.5-inch long screwdriver stuck in his ass. Now, that's 1.5 feet. That's about yay fucking long. And all that's sticking out is the little star point. We remove it. The guy's fine. He's a little uncomfortable. He's embarrassed as hell. But otherwise, he's good. And I come in to do the the pre-discharge teaching. And if you've ever been to the hospital, that's when the nurse comes in and bores the hell out of you for 10 minutes before you leave to try to make sure you don't come back. And I said to him, "I'm going to be billing your insurance company for a foreign object in the anus." And he says to me, "Well, did you tell them it was an accident?" Now listen, I don't really care. It's 2018. Whatever you want to stick up your ass is fine with me. I'll even help remove the damn thing when you get it stuck. But don't fucking lie to me about it. I'm not stupid. Alright? So I said to him, I think he was wearing a little cross pendant, and I said, "I think we should say a prayer to Jesus. He saw fit that you have a slip and fall accident, but he was also merciful enough to cover it in KY jelly before you slipped." That was an accident. So I said to him, "Sir, please bow your head. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of my garage, I will fear no screwdrivers. For the floor was slippery. Thy speculum and KY, they comfort me." Amen. A lot of people don't know this, but as a nurse, one of my jobs is whenever the doctor gives you a diagnosis, I have to go into a big, thick book, a set of numbers, and I have to find out what the corresponding set of numbers to that diagnosis is. And that's how we bill your insurance company. And the government uses all those numbers to keep track of statistical things. But I can literally bill you for anything. K62.89 is the code for a pain in the ass. Now, initially, I was charging all my patients for a pain in the ass. Apparently, the pain in the ass has to be theirs and not mine. They were throwing around big words like Medicare fraud and stuff like that. We have codes for alcohol use without complications, alcohol use with intoxication, and I can bill you for something called alcohol-induced sexual dysfunction. If you're not sure what that means. We have codes in that book. I can bill you for something called chlamydial pneumonia. I'll let that one sink in for just a second. That is an STD infection in your lungs. And I gotta say, I'm not sure what the hell you freaks are doing to get an STD infection in your lungs, but I am shocked and appalled. I'm also a little curious if you know about that. I had a real bad patient come in one time, and when I say a bad patient, I mean this guy was annoying as hell. He was in and out of bed, on the bell, asking a million stupid questions. And at first, the questions were kind of normal, like, when's the doctor going to see me? And then they got more ridiculous, like, where does the white go when the snow melts? Are you ever going to stop my bleeding? You know, stupid shit like that. And finally I thought, this guy has asked his last dumbass question. He said, "Why is there a hole through the pocket in the chest of my gown?" And I said to him, "Sir, that's so when the doctor comes in the morning, he knows where to get the heart from when we harvest all your organs." And he didn't think that was very funny either. The lady that was with him had an absolute fit. She was saying things like, "What's wrong with you? You're a monster. He's only 8 years old." A few weeks ago, I did a show up in the Villages, and after my set on my way out to the car, a mature lady approached me, and you've all heard of MILFs and cougars and silver foxes. And I would classify this lady as like a saber tooth, like she was that mature. And she said to me, "Young man, I thought you were wonderful, but I'm almost due for my mammogram. Can you help me?" I didn't really know what to say. Before I could even think, I heard myself saying, "Well, I'll have to call your insurance company. We'll see if that's a billable service." But without even missing a beat, she said, "Well, you can add a pap smear to that too." I mean, I got scared, I ran to my car and went away, but the worst part of it is, I really don't know if she was trying to have sex with me or if she was looking for affordable health care. Now my time's almost up, I gotta get back to the hospital, somebody's gotta save lives and stamp out disease. But before I wanna go, I wanna leave you all with this. I'm not always the nurse. Sometimes I'm the patient too. I understand how awkward it can be. I went to my doctor's the other day and he said it was time to start checking my prostate. The awkward part was he was rubbing my shoulders and he whispered it in my ear. And I'll tell you all something else too, that's the last damn time I go to a doctor that everybody calls banana hands. Alright guys, that's my time. It's one, I'll tell you all.
Guys, give it up for Josh Felix one more time. I'm shit, right?